I don't think there's anybody even like doing any office work in my family. So
Oh, wow.
that entrepreneur thing came
It's a
in.
dynasty.
Exactly. I talk about when I was 6, 7, I knew how things started for my dad. What gives me that spark? If there's a conversation around it, I'm drawn. Right from my childhood, beauty has been, if I see somebody with a flawless skin on TV, anywhere, I would compliment it. If I see nice lush hair, I would compliment it. Their NGQ was, oh my goodness, it's a dream to me. All those things, beauty related, I love, love, love. So it came so easy. All the risk involved doing this, I do not even define them as risk. They're just little glitches that I need to sort out and get it done with.
Tune in to hear Muslim women talking back like never before. This is the HSM TribeCast.
Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the HSM Tribe, the podcast by Muslim women for Muslim women. My name is Khadija. We are in the era where conversations around women and their economic power is on the all-time high. And I think there's no better time to start talking about creating equal economic opportunities for women and improving our strength in terms of finances. I have an amazing guest with me to do justice to this topic. She's a business tycoon, entrepreneur extraordinaire, and CEO of Amaryadotcom, Rahama Adams. Welcome.
Thank you, Khadija. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. I've been wanting to do this for a while because, I was probably one of, if I do say so myself, I think I was one of the earlier on, customers when you still had the hybrid mobile spa from home and just seeing how that has grown. Oh my, I'm so amazed, and I've been wanting to have this topic to just learn, how do women build that kind of legacy? But yeah, before I geek out and go too excited, we usually start with an icebreaker. So you'll tell us 2 truths and 1 lie about Rahma.
You've made me thinking since. 2 truths. I've been married 15 years. I have 3 kids. I was born in Kano.
Yeah, I actually do think you probably have 3 kids and have been married for a bit. I'd probably say Kano. You strike me as maybe northeast. So yeah, I don't know. Kano is the lie.
I think that was too easy.
Was I correct?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, so yeah, as I said, I've just really at what point did you realize that I was going to be an entrepreneur? There's some people who grow up and just know, I like to think you're either born with the entrepreneurial mindset or not. I mean, we do say that, some people can learn it and learn to become good in it, but I think some people just have a really good instinct for it. So I'd say, which do you think it is for you? And at what point did you really know that, okay, yes, I'm going to be a businesswoman?
I think that conditioning started quite early in life, growing up into this entrepreneurial family where everybody was a hustler that traded. My dad, his brothers, the family, friends, almost everybody I knew back then was, trading and stuff like that. So naturally we were conditioned. I don't think there's anybody even doing any office work in my family. So
oh, wow.
That entrepreneur thing came in.
It's a dynasty.
Exactly. So it was very, very natural. So the kind of talks that you grow up listening to, the money talks, let me put it that way, the hard work that was being put. So it was a mindset, a financial mindset that I've always had to sort of that line of business does not scare me, so to say. The risk taking, the everything concerning entrepreneurial journey. So yeah, I think my family was first and foremost the major reason why I found myself doing what I'm doing now.
And you spoke about your father and the male members of your family. It was probably implied, though I didn't hear you specify the females, and you talked about all those money talks and hearing those conversations growing up. Was that something that spilled across the gender? Did you also have women who were at that stage while you were growing up also involved in the business of the family, or was it mostly a male-centered thing?
It was never a woman.
Huh.
Mostly, in fact, 99% was the male members of the family. Our moms were housewives, you
Okay.
know, they were housewives. And then, so like I said, at that point, it didn't really, come to me as it is a gender-based something. Funny enough, even though I grew up without the female members of my family going into this business and stuff like that, I don't know. I think, how do I even say it? It never really conditioned me to think it was a gender-based thing, because then growing up, my dad would sit us down and tell us how he started from the scratch and tell us all the hard work, the pains and everything of, his journey into being who he is.
Yeah.
And then just by that act alone, it's almost as if he's telling us,
Like if I could do it,
if
with,
I could do it,
Yeah.
starting from the scratch, having nobody but Allah and His resilience. So it was just the mindset that was set from right from time. We never really ask
Like,
him, oh,
you
how
don't
do
have
you
an
make it?
excuse
He just
to-
sits us down, gives us a history about how he came, because he's from Niger,
Okay.
how he came into Nigeria at the age of 12.
Wow.
There was no phone.
On his own?
On
or
his
with-
own.
Wow.
There was no phone. There was nothing. His parents were literally, looking, because when he left, he came to Kano State, right? And from there, he went to Port Harcourt. That was where he settled, got married. That was where we were born. Yes. So at that point, no phone, like I said, and they will search, ask people to, find his whereabouts in Kano, for example. And sorry, I'm being emotional a little bit.
That's fine.
Okay,
It's
okay,
fine.
okay,
It's
okay.
part of your family history, your legacy. Yeah.
So I think that act alone, where he came from literally nothing, he made his way, like I said, with resilience, with consistency, with only Allah, no family members, no friends. So it has that boldness, that strength. It was something right from time, right from childhood, was it made me. It made me think there's so much blessing in scratch work even.
Yeah.
It makes you into this very, very strong person that no matter the breeze that will come, you will somehow
You
withstand
know
it.
that because you know your roots.
Exactly. The risk, I'm so not scared of risk. I do have my calculated risk, but no matter how big a risk is, it doesn't scare Rahama. For some, and I think that those are, part of the reasons, honestly, because I saw the part where, okay, where I grew up, let's say with the silver spoon or something, but then he never failed to sit us down and tell us how everything started.
Yeah, really.
I talk about when I was 6, 7, I knew how things started for my dad, what he went through. So it was a natural condition for us, the financial mindset start right from childhood. So to me, it's if you can do this, knowing nobody, even though he is a male, and trading or business is best suited in this condition, in this climate for the men. But if you could do that without, how do I put it? If you could
With
do
the
that with the
limited
limited resources
resources.
that he had, just with resilience and hard work, then it means I don't have to be a man, to venture into business at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And
All
I
I
think
needed
that-
was God. All I needed was
And the
resilience,
conviction.
and
yeah.
yes, and the mindset that I'm going to do this, and then it's going to be successful, inshallah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that it's very important you pointed that out, that he was intentional about letting the children hear the story of where he was coming from, regardless of what you had at that time. Because I think that's a mistake that parents of today are making.
Yeah.
In terms of, the opportunities that you provide for your children, mashallah, because Allah has blessed us to be able to do that. But it may come across as though the younger generation is losing touch with just how much work
Was
goes,
put, yeah.
yes, into being able to give them the opportunities that they have today. I think not a lot of people really understand that we're living parallel realities. We don't even have to go too far. Like in the communities that we find ourselves, you will find a child of the same age as you who is living a completely different reality from the privileges that you have. So yes, I think that it's very important that communication and it's at the end of the day, storytelling.
Yeah.
Because it sounds as though you were just hearing the stories of your dad and how he made it, but look at what he did for you.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, strengthening you ultimately, and you grew up. And I wonder, because you also told me that the females were, focused on the housework, which is equally important, right? How did you get any pushback? Like at what point, for instance, because you probably still had to go to school and all of that, but at what point did you decide, oh, well, this is the line I wanted to go? And did you get pushback either from women themselves in your family who didn't have that background, or from the men who are used to it being a male's thing?
I think the only pushback that I had gotten, like I said, I've been married 15 years now, right? And I started
Which
this.
is amazing,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah. So I think because, okay, I graduated with, let's say, something completely different. I did BIT, that's Business Information Technology, which is very different from, it is.
Still
It
kind
is.
of,
I mean, beauty.
What is business?
Yeah, it is. But, it's not like I went to school learning, the beauty related things. What I went to school for was things that have to do with coding, things that have to do with CMS, content management systems.
Okay.
So there was always that expectations that I was going to go into the white collar job. Do you understand? I graduated with first class. And
Mashallah.
yes, and even before then, my dad had always wanted me to be like a medical doctor. He's always wanted me. You know how
They
parents
always
can
have
be.
their
I know,
dreams.
I know. But so the questions are, but why would you leave this and go into that?
Yeah.
But knowing me, they knew the conviction I have is probably solid. Whatever maybe I can be a little bit of a risk taker, and I think they understand that. So they knew somehow. My mom, she never had any issues. It was my brothers, they were asking, oh, you're doing this, why would you now come and just, diverge into something completely different? And I made them to understand, this is my passion. This is what I really like. And in Abuja, then there weren't many people doing this business. And I think since it comes natural, it's something that I see myself succeeding in. So there was no qualms, nothing. My dad was perfectly okay with it. My husband, perfectly okay with it. All the men in my life and my family were perfectly okay. Me doing this, actually. Yeah. So no restrictions of any kind, honestly.
No, that's really good, because not everybody has it that easy. And usually it's even the people who are closest to you that initial, pushback
Right.
would come from.
Right.
So I think it's good that you had that experience. It then brings me to the question around, yes, it seems you have a really good appetite for risk, calculated risks anyway, but it can be really scary, I think, for a lot of people, that moment of trying to figure things out. And then even when you eventually have some sort of plan for what you want to do, it's okay, taking the first step, what if, like, I'm not sure if you ever had that. And not a lot of people knows this, but For instance, I was at a stage in my life where I was also trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I went to school, I graduated, I was called to the bar, I was a lawyer. My passion was media and communications. But then I found myself in a situation where it was like, okay, I was in a place where I moved to a new place. I didn't know anybody. I'm like, okay, before you get the legal job or the job in the media and communications, what are you going to do? And that was the stage where I was really, really fascinated with all things traditional beauty. I had been following you, and I remember I came then for that course, just trying to sort of, build a business model that could be something similar to what you were doing. And I know how scared out of my wits I was, like, okay, this is an investment. Like, even with me thinking, oh, I don't have a lot, I took that and, invested it into building that knowledge, right? And even though I did that for a time and eventually the paths changed and I found myself coming back to what the initial passion was, from your own experience or from the experiences of others that you've seen, what do you think is the best way to deal with that fear in, just making a move when you're trying to do something like that?
I think first and foremost, every single person you see has an inborn talent. You do not joke with that. If God puts it in you, you feel it in your heart, right? He puts that hunger for something in you. Do not play with it. That is when risk taking will not be hard for you because it's already written for you. You somehow feel you're going to succeed in that field. To make move in that thing will not be hard. Most times we find that unsettling behavior in us. It's because I feel most times is that is not our calling. So there's drama inside, chaos. What am I doing? You ask a billion questions. But once it is meant for you to do, God will send the boxes for what that business needs, and He will give you the ability to tick those boxes. You will not feel the stress. That chaos, that risk will be very faint.
Yeah.
Because it's written, it's for you. You already, all you need between you and succeeding is time. Yeah. So if you're baking cake and you're my friend, I'm not supposed to just, okay, because Khadija has it easy, she's baking cakes, she's selling, and tomorrow I start my cake business.
So let me also start.
Nope. You need to mute the noise. Ask yourself truly what
gives me that hunger?
What gives me that hunger? What gives me that spark? Yeah. If there's a conversation around it, I'm drawn. Right from my childhood, beauty has been, if I see somebody with a flawless skin on TV, anywhere, I would compliment it. If I see nice lush hair, I would compliment it. Garen GQ was, oh my goodness, it's a dream to me. All those things, beauty related, I love, love, love. So it came so easy. All the risk involved doing this, I do not even define them as risk. They're just little glitches that I need to sort out and get it done with. Yeah. So first and foremost, find the things that interest you. Everything will flow. Everything will flow easy.
Yeah, I agree. It's in actually understanding what that calling is. And that thing that constantly drives you, like you can't sleep at night. Honestly. You're excited. You're thinking, How am I going to do this? Okay, what do I need to do next? Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think one thing that's probably also interesting is figuring out how you're going to do that thing differently from others. Because it's one thing to have the passion. Even if you're lucky and it's a space that is not saturated versus one that's a lot of people are actually even doing stuff in, what's the unique value proposition that you're going to bring to it? So, because I look back again, like I said, at Amaryadotcom, the first time that I met you, and then I walk into those doors of that, I don't know, like dynasty or empire that you have going on right now. And the question for me is, how do people, like, how do you get from, it's a question of skill. How do you start from that good idea that you're nursing, that you're starting to that level that you're able to scale? And I don't want to put too many points into one, but yeah, I think it would be good to talk about that. And then we now come to capital, because again, access to capital is not child's play,
True.
especially in the economy that we are today. I think in terms of like equal access to financing, etc., we still have a long way to go in terms of closing that gap gender wise. But for you, how do you even dream to scale like an idea on that level, and then how do you pursue the resources to make it a reality?
I think there's a holistic approach to that. One pillar doesn't make up a business. It's a whole lot of everything. Let's say like it's you're making jollof rice. There are several ingredients you need to, First and foremost, that USP, the unique selling point of your business, starts from who you are as a person. Let me give you an example with myself. I'm in the hospitality business, right?
Yeah.
And then hospitality is a lot about you're dealing with people, of course. Your aura matters a lot
Yeah.
into bringing in people and keeping them.
Yeah.
We have people that will just come into the spa, and let's say our back in the days. Let me start from back in the days. In the Maitama, my first spa, would have women come in. They're not doing anything. They'll just sit down
And just
and gist. When it's time to close, bye, 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 and they're gone. And I'll ask them, but you didn't even get to do this. Sometimes they'll just tell you, the fact that I'm there, and there's just something about the energy around.
Yeah.
If you're, let's say, a person that is very, very serious, too serious in your business, it has its advantages in some fields, but in the hospitality, there is a little bit of flexibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
So that would be your unique selling point. Your acceptance of people, your warmth, and things that have to do with, the things that is not standard operating procedure. Who you are somehow transcends into everything, from the type of staff you hire to the type of services that you offer. Of course, every day is a learning process. You are sharpening your wits, but then that coreness of what your business, let's say the values of your business, once you have established them, most times it doesn't really change, because I just believe that the founder or the CEO is who sets that
vision, and
vision.
everybody else
Exactly. And then that is just part of it. The other parts of this, as a Muslim, let's say, as a Muslim woman, like I said, you understand the market around your business. It's not just about, I'm doing body polish. No. How would you market your body polish out there? How? In what tone, for example? In what setting, for example? Who is it for? Understanding the market of your business is something you should learn. Dua
very
is another
important.
pillar. So you don't just say, I have sorted these things out. No, like I said, it's a holistic approach. The spiritual aspect of it, your connection with Allah, how you please Allah. You do things He likes so that He will make life easy for you, especially in your business. You do sadaqah, you do your tahajjuds, you help, you do things that has nothing to do with your business, but you're doing it to please Allah so that He may make life, your business life. All this balance, Allah has said it. Things, who will loan me a goodly loan so that I may multiply it. So that multiplication is from dunya before you even reach there. So try as much as possible, look at all the pillars that make up your business and then do justice to each pillar, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you now start getting into the real practicality of capital And so I like to use the example of Nigeria, and maybe it's a terrible example because when we think of capital, there's different ways, right? People think of investments from family and friends, or actual donors, or your own savings, or loans. We tend to be very averse to loans. Yes, we know that in Islam, the concept of riba and all that, but even with the Sharia compliant loans, I think we're very scared of loans, but there's also people who think that really without that kind of capital, there's really a limit to how much you can scale. Nigeria, for instance, is probably the wrong case to use because we're loaning to serve recurrent expenditure, not really capital expansion. But if you're, using that loan to expand on something that will give you a return, then there's really no need to be scared of it. But in your case, what was it for you? And obviously, you're not divulging all your business secrets to us, but really, how do you practically go about accessing the capital to expand or to scale your business in a place where I think it's easier for men to access that kind of finance than we do?
I think first and foremost, even if you're going for a bank loan, there has to be activity happening in your bank for them to see. So you cannot fly from crawling. First things first, you've started. Something is coming in. That is not the point where you say, okay, small financial abundance. Let me buy this bag. Let me buy this shoe. Let me do this. No. As long as you want to grow, you will save. You will save to reinvest back into this business. So you see, from the first place that we had, from home, I went to a one room, right? From one room, we went to 2 rooms. All within less than a year. Actually, the growth was so much that we had to move. From that 2 rooms, we went to 6 rooms. From the 6 rooms, we are in a 20 room now or more. So the thing is, you have to define what it is you want of your business. Every little coin that comes in, you need to budget where it goes. It's very, very important. All those shoes and bags and the trips, they will come
Eventually.
in a big taste. They will come. But once you're starting, understand that it's not your place to squander around. It's a place you need to learn to save and learn to reinvest. Learn to reinvest. Because you want something that will outlive you.
Yeah.
You want something you will leave for your kids, right? A generational wealth. So I think saving, our people are not big on that. I see, because I started with people
We're
that
very content.
we're not even the content, because if it is content, then you wouldn't go spending more than you should.
Yeah.
Do you
We don't
understand?
seem to like
There's some
focus
things
on
you don't need them.
tomorrow or-
Exactly. I just feel like just use this venue to accumulate so much that you're going to use to invest, because bank will not give you loan if they are not convinced with your bank statement what is happening in your business.
Yeah.
You need to give them enough reason to give you that loan, because they know, okay, this person is striving and doing well, right? Exactly. So, and I think financial literacy is something that we do not really have within our Muslim women community.
I was coming to that because,
yeah, honestly, we do not have that financial literacy, and it's something that is bothersome. There are banks now, like Jai's, Taj Bank, Jai's Bank, that
Lotus,
exactly that offer these things, but like you said, people are scared. So I think it's paramount within our community to have financial advisors, financial mentors, people that these techniques have worked out for, to come out and sensitize our community about these things. So that lack of financial literacy, like I said, is crunching, how people make these decisions. But there's nothing wrong in that. Yeah. But first things first, you start your scratch works, make sure there's an inflow in your business that will give the bank the room to give you that loan, for example. And then, well, I'm so big in budgeting. I'm so big in budgeting.
See, that budgeting thing,
I'm so big.
sometimes it's hard because even with your own personal like finance budget, we supposedly have these templates. Actually, there's some people that don't have any, like it's cash in, cash out. But we have these templates that say, oh, this is how much I spend on what in a month and all of that. But sometimes, like, you get carried away, but then again, it's you getting carried away, and then you just realize, where did the money go to?
Exactly.
So yes, I agree.
There's nothing wrong in spending for yourself as long as you have kept something for the business to reinvest back in it and then watch. It's like your baby. You want it to grow. So you have to buy all the formula for that baby to grow. As long as that is provided, then kalas, there is no problem. Just don't squander everything without any plans, without any strategies, without any growth mindset. So yeah, I think
just starting from there around the growth mindset, I think for us we look at it from, it's also called the abundance mindset. It's the baraka effect. You do your part and you try to grow your business, but also you want it to multiply, you want it to also be sustainable, right? So it's very important not thinking about just the now, but for you, what does that abundance mindset look like? So is it adding on more products and services? Is it investing back in yourself to be able to grow that business?
So like I mentioned earlier, I'm so big on holistic approaches.
Yeah.
It's not one size fits all. That kind of approach, you have to look at every pillar that your blessings, the barakah, for example, of your business should rely on. Things like, first and foremost, gratitude.
Yeah.
Don't look at somebody that is way high above and say, I need to be there. No. Count your blessings. In counting those blessings, you stay grounded.
Yeah.
In counting those blessings, Allah has promised, if you're
grateful,
grateful, I will give you more. So, gratitude plays a major role in this. And then also, for me, I look at the different aspects of beauty. My business, for example, the service wise, product wise, and I look at where I have a weakness and I try to upscale that weakness. I try to, by learning or unlearning or relearning about that particular service, for example. Very, very important. And then you also have to, what your clients need, what your clients want, you try and have those things available in your, business. Exactly. And it may not always boil down to what even the clients need, because not everybody knows what is even out there. So you have to follow the trends.
And even anticipate those
trends. Yeah. There are some conferences, international ones, that you should be part of. Go and learn what is out there. What are the new machines? What is the latest technology that has to do with that particular service or that particular product? Because of this, I had to go learn from scratch how to make each and every one of the products that we sell. I make them myself. I have a laboratory. So it doesn't just end, oh, you make this, you're making this progress. It doesn't end. The global stage is something that calls my name.
Right, because it's not local. I'm not doing this to be a local champion.
Do you understand? The global stage sometimes, and if you're playing the global stage, it's a whole lot of ball game. It's a whole lot of unlearning and relearning. Yeah. So that aspect is there. Another is having mentors in your field. Make sure you have people that have been there, done that, it has worked for, that you can learn from. And I think it is one of the issues that we have, especially in the North, about mentorship. Because Her 360 that we started last year, part of the pillars of Her 360 was mentorship. Yeah. But a lot of our women were asking, what is in it for me? What is in for me? And then,
like the immediate
do you understand? Immediate gratification. It's not really all about that. That mentorship is a form of sadaqah. You do not know that person you're going to impact a knowledge. You don't have to impact everything, just a little bit of something that you know. you don't know what that will do to that person and how that will come back to you.
Exactly.
God rewards in different. I could be enjoying something that my great 444 grandfather did, and then Allah decides to put it in his lineage. You understand? So there is never an unending blessings, barakah of Allah. Sadaqah, mentorship, all these things. Self-care is part of this barakah. Self-care is Allah has given me hands and legs and eyes, and how do I take care of myself? You understand? All these things you have to incorporate. So like as I said, the holistic approach, you have to look at how you take care of yourself. You have to look at how you give back. You have to look at how you learn better, upscale that thing that Allah has given you. Exactly. So he may give you more at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's lovely. I think that one more thing that we also need to touch on is, so coming back to the faith perspective now, I like to say that sometimes Muslims, we could be our own worst enemies in terms of how we interpret or misinterpret the injunctions of Allah, or the limits that He has set for us. So, for instance, women do have the opportunity to work if they would like to. In fact, I think, Sharia, at a point where women in other parts of the world had not even started dreaming about fighting for the right to be able to work or vote, or, a bunch of all of these other things, the Sharia already gave you that opportunity to work if you wanted to. Husbands or fathers or whatever aren't encouraged to, stifle or take away that opportunity for you to build wealth for yourself. But we do find people in situations, and it's fine if it's by your choice, people who choose to stay home, for instance, and nurture their families, it's perfectly fine. You do have people who are forced and who would rather do something that's a bit more for themselves, but aren't allowed to work for whatever reason. So for women who find themselves in those kinds of situations, even if all you're doing is being a stay-at-home mom or wife and taking care of your children and collecting the monthly maintenance fee for the home, how do you build for yourself something out of that restrictive position? And for some people, it's not because their husbands are poor.
Yeah.
For some people, you have, people who are maybe on a lower financial ladder, but you have people who are also like really, really up there. And yes, you stay at home and you collect whatever amounts as maintenance, but still do not have something for yourself. So people in those kinds of situations, how do you start building financial independence or economic power from within that kind of dynamic?
I think first and foremost, whether we like it or not, especially in this part of the country, right? There's always going to be the patriarchal norm, the cultural expectations for you to give more importance to family than for your own personal, ambitions.
Yeah.
Some of us are lucky, like you said. We have supporting family, supporting husbands, and what have you. They will allow us to do whatever. Some people are not that lucky. There is nothing good communication does not fix, Khadija. There's nothing. Do not sit and say, because my neighbor, my friend, my who is doing this, therefore you must allow. No. You look at, okay, it's not all men want their wives out there.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't want you out there and then you want to make some financial gains for yourself, you have to ask yourself, what are other means to do this? You do not have to be an entrepreneur. You do not have to be out there. There are investments, different types. You will be at home taking care of whatever and then be able to do this. One of the beauty of marriage is compromise. You understand? It's not your way or the highway. And if you understand this, Allah puts barakah in what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look at the other day, I was at the spa moving, saying things, and one of my clients came in and she was telling me about her farming business. She used to bake cakes. She stopped baking cakes and she's into the farming business. And she was telling me, oh, they run this investment program where you'll give this amount of money, right? And for the farming, you don't even know what is going on.
Oh, I heard about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you get some returns.
And then when
I was even supposed to call
there's
herself.
the harvest,
Exactly. I was
then
like,
you
oh my God, I'm so interested. So that let me be earning something by the side.
yeah.
So all things like that. If you have the husband that is rich or wealthy, that can give you something for you to invest somewhere, there's nothing wrong in that. Because Hajia A or Hajia B is out there, or Rahama is doing her stuff, or Umita is doing her things, does not mean I have to do it. You reach an agreement. Kalas, do you want me out there? No, I don't want you out there. Okay, I want to start, some financial gains, businesses for myself. There are so many investment platforms,
Yeah.
so many
And
things.
outlets.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think once you reach that memorandum of understanding, it solves a
It's
lot
a
of
real
things.
memorandum of
Honestly.
understanding. God, this has been such a lovely conversation, but I really do not want us to end without you reflecting on Rahma, like how many years ago when you started this, and Rahma today, like with everything that you've seen and learned from business, like what do you think you would have done a bit differently going in terms of how you built your business model or whatever?
I think what I would have done differently right from time was getting a mentor. Getting a mentor. That one thing will shorten the journey.
Yeah.
You understand? But then, like, we do not have that culture around here. I had to figure a lot of things out, which I'm very grateful for, because it has made nothing can really shake my balance at this point. So, like I said, some things I learned, there are trends, like what is new out there, what what do I need to upscale to match up and catch up. So all those things has forced me to be my own mentor, to go out there,
It's like learning and failing
learning,
by
and you
yourself.
fail and then you pick up, and then all this vast knowledge, vast experience is there's really nothing I can really change now. Maybe I would have been lazy if I had gotten the mentor and maybe um, depending too much on what that person would go out there and learn and come and tell me. So, but this has made me do my own researches, be out there, understand, what is abreast of things.
Yeah.
And Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Rahma. This has been amazing. And yeah, I know even if we sit down from here till whenever, I
Of
mean, you
course.
can't completely capture, what it means in terms of like female economic power in one sitting. But I really hope that this conversation was helpful for someone, whether you're someone who's thinking about starting something, whether it's a business, whether it's starting to invest in yourself, or just making your money work for you. The one thing that's very key is to continue learning, relearning. You have to unlearn some things and learn new stuff, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's the consistency that pays off. Until next time, please like, share, subscribe, send this to someone who will find it very useful, and continue to enjoy life, love, and faith on your terms. Assalamu alaikum.